Hola chicos. El día de hoy venimos con una nueva dinámica. Como ustedes saben, estudio administración en el TEC de Monterrey y el día de hoy quería hacer una dinámica un poco más interactiva. Entonces el día de hoy vamos a estar utilizando el hashtag AnaHabla. Con ese hashtag tú puedes darme en plan like y mandarme un mensaje. Y la primera persona que me mande mensaje de estos 5 millones, pues bueno, tendremos el gran gusto de platicar por vía Telegram para poder hablar sobre temas ya profesionales. Yo sé que a veces no me pueden tomar muy en serio, pero puedo ser seria. Sé de temas de negocios, tengo profesionalismo, entonces pues quiero hablar un poco más serio porque a veces que tenemos dudas pero no sabemos cómo expresarlas. Entonces pues me encantaría conocerlos. Entonces envíame mensaje y los voy a estar esperando. Pero antes de que me envíen sus grandes preguntas, amigos, quiero decirles que ahorita estoy haciendo una gran colaboración con la escuela ESADE. Por si ustedes no sabían, esa es una de las mejores universidades en Europa y bueno, la top 1 en business. Entonces, pues quería decirles que si quieren saber un poco más de información sobre ellos, les recomiendo seguir. Aquí les voy a dejar el perfil aquí arriba, el arroba. Este Instagram de Digital Success of Career, que es una super materia dentro de la escuela. Entonces, denle follow y me avisan si les encanta. Porque yo creo que sí. Entonces, pues sí. Hola chicos. Hola chicos.
Yeah, sure. In fact, I have many topics. So one of them would be like the digital age in general and how customer data has become really important for many companies and even the core business for social media platforms and the huge profit they can make out of it. And also how many companies in general are currently challenged to use this data properly to implement them into their business and to create out of them new opportunities and profits, and also about the challenge of a digital transformation and how a company can succeed in doing so. So yeah, it would be nice if we could chat a little bit about it. Well, I think it really depends on the point of view you're looking at it and especially how you use the data. So, for example, from the point of view of a company, it's a really great tool to target your customers and to get to know them and to understand their purchasing behavior and their taste. However, I also see the potential of bad usage of data. So, as these profiles created of people and all this information, it can also be used to manipulate us and to make us think in a different way than we used to. So, yeah, I will send you a trailer of The Great Hack. Probably you saw it, which is a movie, an awesome documentary movie, which shows how influential we people are and how powerful at the end of the day data is.
Yes, as you said, I think like data can be used like in a good way, in a bad way, like everything in this world. But also depends like how the companies use it. for do it. Like as you said, like in the movie, we can saw that they use this kind of data for get the election. Well, it's not a movie; it's a documentary. For get like the election for Donald Trump, that is very risky. But I mean, different point of view. Like also, I attend a conference for Arnaud Nice that I was so interested in. Like he speak about this. So let me send you the link to the profile of him. Like what Arnaud talked to us that day of the conference, and a little bit like explaining. He told us like the data is used to show the trends in the consumer behavior, such also they show the where the needs and all those kind of stuff that is like composed for the consumer behavior. And also he told us that this type of data helps to analyze the consumer in like 360 degrees because he put an example that at least is like that. That imagine that we have a person, and with his data, we can determine not only the behavior, also we can determine the attitude, the interaction, and a more detailed profile of all this person. So it's so important to get what is the data and what is the behavior, not only in that moment, we know the future behavior, companies get too much data for the profiles that more than we can like imagine. So I understand that some companies don't always like see or use data for all the people that they have, but they only use the profiles that are only relevant or achievable or large enough to be able to apply strategies to lead them to the success. But do we really have to resort to an excessive use of the information of each human being? That's something that I always ask to myself. Imagine today data is the new most valuable asset. So before it was the oil, but now the all the world is changing. So the data is the most important thing. So this is the type of information that I get out of my head. It's like what like this data is so important to get not only what that I am doing right now is determining what we do like in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Times are changing pretty fast. But we have to mention that companies not only use data for bad, and they're just using their information more efficient and try to figure out new opportunities for business and profit. And many of them are also just trying to adapt to this new environment. And if you go against this evolution, and if you're not quick enough, well, take the example of Blockbuster, which was a huge company, but it was not able to adapt as fast as it should have. And it was just replaced with Netflix. And nowadays, no one knows anything or hears anything about Blockbuster. And if you want to keep playing in the market, I think that you as a manager should really consider and find the gaps where you could amplify digital tools or even transform some like traditional processes into a more digital way. Well, yeah, that's a really tough challenge to make this transformation, but with a good strategy, it's possible. Yeah, sure, I will. This was also one of the best classes of digital successful careers for sure. It was with Gerard Perez, and he explained us this cycle of the individual steps a company has to go through. And it was really nice. And afterwards, I also contacted him because I had some doubts about some of the vocabulary he was mentioning in his class. And a really nice guy. So maybe you know him. You probably do if you're in that area. So yeah, I'm going to send you a picture of the whole cycle, and I'm going to go through each individual step. Okay, so the first step is to identify the most prominent and severe digital gaps the company has. And this is kind of creating a list of all the gaps the company has and linking them to the opportunities which would arise by implementing a digitalization, so by solving this gap. And So at the beginning, we should focus especially on the ones we can solve in the short term and the opportunities arising of this execution. So after having listed all these gaps, we should focus at the beginning at one or two of these, and these should be the ones with the most lucrative potential opportunities. And to set them into practice, we should implement specific measurements to track the process, which can be done, for example, by implementing meaningful KPIs or also by setting a time frame. Yeah, and we also have to know if the company has the required know-how and resources to set this digitalization process into reality. Okay, and the third phase is to develop a strong and powerful vision so that we can convince the top of the company. Because if the headquarters are not into that idea, the process is not going to um, be set into reality and it's just going to fall apart. So, first, we have to implement this vision and also gain the trust of the headquarters that this digital transformation is going to be a good thing for the company. Okay, and now having the top management in the boat, now the strong and powerful vision has to go through the whole organization, or at least the departments which are going to be directly affected by this transformation, and we have to educate them of the benefits and also the proceeding of this transformation process. So the fifth step is to embrace align experimentation, which is a very useful method to involve different points of views and areas of the company. Okay, and after having done that, pilots are developed and created to test the whole process and structure in general, and to also see common success barriers and complications of the process in general. So this is done as on an early stage. These process failures or challenges can be solved to later on avoid these complications um, for the final digitalization transformation. So the next step after launching the pilots is the monitoring phase. And during and after this rollout of the pilots, the leaders need to closely monitor the impact of the new technology on the business case and compare it with the external benchmark and internal projections. So it is also needed to be coherent with the ultimate goal and vision of the new implemented technology. So if it's not aligned with the pilot's outcomes, we should reframe the whole pilot or just try to switch our strategy. And finally, the eighth step, if the results of the new technology implemented are positive and satisfying, then the rollout process towards the whole company would be the next step. So this would be the final implementation into the company. And having done that successfully, we could go over again to the list of the gaps and start with another gap we would like to solve by implementing it in a digital transformation process.
Like probably a little bit more clear because sometimes I know that I get like the good words to say what I want to say, but I think when I am speaking, I'm a better when I'm writing. But well, the main difference is that the search engine optimization, that is called SEO, is more focusing on optimization on the website in order to get more traffic in the organic search results. And on the other hand, the goal of the search engine marketing, that is the SEM, call it, is to get traffic and a visibility from both organic and paid search. So this is the main difference. It took me also a while like to get the difference and the meaning of all these different concepts, but I was able to catch up pretty like quick after. I did again an internship of Google Data as an analyst last summer. Sometimes I get this information to someone and they get like, very impressed when I say like, "Oh my God, you get that internship in Google?" And it's like, yeah. So to get more clearly, just imagine Google's search results, which are divided into like two categories: the paid search results and the organic ones. And let me send you a picture. I have a picture like for being more clear. Also, I have another question. I saw in your LinkedIn profile that you also to work with Jose Antolin. For me, it was very interesting because, as I know, Jose Antolin and you worked together on McDonald's project. So for me, I have like a little more questions. Also, I saw your LinkedIn profile. Maybe you think I'm a stalker, but I think LinkedIn is a really good like tool right now nowadays. It's like kind of social media, but social media more serious. There, then you only can like get jobs. I think there you can get information about how the companies are working on or how the market is working. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, I saw that movie. Believe me, I saw it for a business class because in my business class in my school, I think they put like all the most famous movies about this kind of companies that are real. Like right now, I know that Malonex is a real estate, but it's not important. But I mean, I really like that movie. I really like all the plan. Like they put the strategy, how to be a good strategy. It's a really good movie in that kind of work. But I don't like the part because he betrayed his friends. So final accounts, I really like the part of like the marketing plan on how to be successful, how to get the steps to know your customer, and all this kind of stuff, like journey maps, all the terms that I really learned from the university, apply it in the movie. But I don't like the part that he betrays his friends, like the founders of McDonald's. So it's like a kind of difficult for me to say this like good. Or I recommend that, but yeah.
Yeah, true. Well, he wasn't the best person per se, but what he built was pretty amazing. Like the strategy, the marketing, and this whole concept of building a franchisee to get food from every place from the US. It's pretty amazing. So, yeah, like he built a really big business, which is nowadays one of the biggest and most known companies worldwide. But now let's go back to your question. Okay, so the basic idea of the cohort is it's an analysis which helps you to understand the behavior of the customer and also to identify trends. There are different types of cohorts. For example, the one I'm going to send you is the retention rate of customers. So how much of the basic customers are coming back after a certain time period. But as I already mentioned, there are different cohorts analyzing different types of things. But I'm going to explain you that afterwards in detail. Okay, so first to the basics. So each row represents a cohort of users, which by the way is just a fancy word for a group, and each column represents a week following the cohort criterion. So in our example, the percentage in the cells represent the percentage of customers which come back after their first purchase. So in other words, this example represents the percentage of customers coming back over time after the first contact purchase of our brand product. So this is just the overall data you have to get first. Okay, once you have understood that, as you can see, the amount of customers coming back after the first buy decreases over time, which is quite normal. Okay, so this is the info you can get when you read this analysis from left to right. So taking the example of the first purchase group, so April 27, 2014, you can see that we have 79 new users, and after the first week, 22% of these 79% came back to purchase again things of our brand. And this evolution decreases or increases, it really depends. And at the end, so week 17, you can see that there are only 6.3% of our initial 79% of users which are still purchasing our product. However, we can also read it from top to bottom. So by doing so and comparing the groups of the different first purchasing moment, we can see if there are any difference between people buying in a specific date. So in our example, let's just take a quick look about the first clients which purchased on April 27 and the ones purchasing the first time on May the 4th. So in fact, you can see a significant difference between these two cohorts. So in May the 4th, we gained many more customers compared to April 27. And as we can see, the percentage of customers coming back from May are also noticeably higher than the ones from April. So these different behaviors and percentages can give us great insights, as it can help us to understand what happened at that time and could lead to more customers to come more frequently. So an example which could explain why in May there are many more customers buying our product could be, for example, that we launched in May a promotion campaign, or we launched new products, or we had a marketing event or ads, whatever. So it helps us to understand the time frame and different behaviors, and also like events which may occur and be the reason why customers come more frequently to our shop to buy our products or services. So, as I already said, it is a great tool to help us understand what drives people to our company back, and also to understand their behavior. And furthermore, you can also add some filters to our cohort analysis to go deeper into specific segments or products bought and so on. And there are also other types of cohort analysis which analyze other things than just the behavior and evolution. An example for that would be to analyze the average lifetime revenue of a product, days since the first order, or the number of customers, and many more. So, okay, I know that was pretty much for the beginning, but I'm going to send you now a link of a website in which you can build your own cohort, and I really hope that it was clear and that you understood like the basic idea of it.
Really, really, really thank you. Now I really understand a little bit more how the cohort analysis can help. Not only can works, it only can help me right now in my work like recently. So really thank you. Also, that kind of color that you use for the cohort analysis remind me like one of those that we used on my internship at Televisa Mexico like years ago when I was young. And in there we use this kind of colors and different like metrics for classifying the comments of the people in social media like specifically we call NPS, that is Net Promoter Score. And depending on the comments, we classify if it is positive, neutral, or negative for a brand. Imagine, sometimes we have comments saying person like ha 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 or like anything. It's like, what can we do with this, no? Or what does that mean? So sometimes the people make us like or work more difficult to classify the comments, but yeah, we use that kind of product for like identify and classify the comments. I agree with you, but I have a question. Like, I know it's like a little, well, it's not random because it's like of like related with the subject. But do you think nowadays exists like a company that's like full, super full digital? because sometimes I think that we don't have the capabilities like as humans to be super digital because I know that we have the technology, but we don't know how to use it for the good way and how to be like more successful or more efficient in that way. So I think nowadays doesn't exist like a super technological, like super advanced like that one. I think they are like many that are almost in that point, but not like super that point, you know? Sometimes I always think like, for example, Amazon, but you know, when I know the supply chain of all the story of Amazon, I know that they have like this point that they have to like move on. So I think nowadays doesn't exist. But do you think it exists like a super technological one that is totally digital?
So imagine that you have a company and you don't know what you can do with all this data. Well, the positive way of this powerful technology environment is that you can classify this kind of data you like. So you can classify it um, through transactionals or customers or profits, etc. And with that, you can make a plan based on your objectives and always with KPIs in front to have all under control, of course.
It's true. Also, I have a friend. I don't know if you know him. He's Jose Antonio. He's super important in this area of digital. But I think he's same the same as her, that the data is the iceberg of all the process for a company, you know? Like that in this world we have like five types of companies. One that are super digital, that one that I think now it doesn't exist. Also another one that are pre-analytic environment, another ones that are data driver, that are the ones who have the data connected. But at this point nowadays, I think a digital like super digital company doesn't exist in my point of view. But I think if you want to survive in this super competitive market, you have to automatize your process to be more efficient. I think you have to know, like a company, five super important things, like who are your people in your organization, also what kind of data you need to run of your business, all the process that you have to do to get your goals, like the main process. Also, you have to get the technological that you need for this change, or at least to be more faster in some process and define, and I think this is the most important one. Define your strategy, who creates value and differentiate you about the other competitors. True.
Ah, and by the way, Anna, last week I had a guest speaker called Alexandra Bacardi in the Digital Successful Careers course, and she was telling us about a digital marketing campaign for Nescafe. And well, she had like 300 slides or so, and in one of the slides, she mentioned all of the influencers they used for this campaign. And I just remembered that one of these influencers were you. So what a coincidence. And yeah, it would be really nice if you could elaborate and tell me some insights about the project, as what Alexandra told us about it was really stressful, but it turned pretty good at the end.
Really is super coincidence because Alexander Bacardi is a really good friend of mine because we were like working together for a very important project for Nestle, specifically like for Nescafe farmers. I think was a really good project, and also in that project I was realizing that I want really to be a marketer because it was really stressful. If you think like if you want, I can like tell you a little bit more about this project. But yeah, basically we were like good friends. I think she's one of the most women that I really appreciated that have like her friendship because she's super strong and she's super young to view like all the things that she get it. So it's a really good friend of mine. So yeah, if you want to ask me about that project, you can. Really, really, this project changed my life because in that moment I was like very stressed, and at some point I said like this is really what I want to do. But when you say your results, you know that everything about you. So explaining a little bit about this campaign, was about launching a new product for Nestle that is called Nescafe Farmer that are with these capsules meal. And basically, we have all the strategy, product strategy, as you know, and the market research, what was our value, every point for the making of the purchase for the customer, also for the social customer. But in what point when we launch like in this case, the campaign for the director of the other side that contract us for this project, he said like, I don't like it now because imagine when someone say to you like I don't like it and but it's another person you can deal with that but when it's the other director you don't know how to do and in that moment we also like have like and I have to remember well like 3 hours to change all the campaign and for a moment I didn't know what to do but at the end we really changed all the campaign not all the campaign but we based all results in the Apple a video that it was the first launches for Steve Jobs. So we get like the inspiration for that. But it was very successful. I don't know if you see it on the TV, but I think the key of all of this is how to get all your problems, not only like me like freaking out for a moment, it's okay, but you have to know how to deal with that and also how to speak with the creative team, also with the other team to get new ideas.
Wow, Anna, that really sounds like a challenge, but I'm really happy that the effort at the end was worth it. And yeah, I really have to admit, I'm really glad that we have met and get to know each other better um, through Telegram and this communication. But yeah, to be honest, we're precisely looking for influencers like you with your profile. Like you have really nice content, you have a firm and strong, loyal follower base on Instagram and on YouTube, and especially you're really known in the field of marketing, business, and all the other areas. So yeah, we're looking for influencers like you to collaborate with us in our startup called Bedir. Have you ever seen a picture or video of a beautiful place on a social media platform and have thought, hmm, I would really like to visit this place? However, the research to get to this place or even to get the name of it was nearly impossible, as under the post was zero information about it. Well, here's our proposal and the solution for your problem. Padir, our new app, a app for young travelers, which combines visual and social features like the ones on Instagram with informational data like the one provided on TripAdvisor. With this app, we give you all the tools required for you to start your next adventure. What are you waiting for? So, this is basically the main idea, combining informative data and tools with real life reels like the ones on Instagram, which show you how the places are filmed by independent Badir traveler influencers. And here's also where you get in. So, most of our content is made by independent traveler influencers who make short reels of their trips and post them on their account. From there on, we do the work by adding all the information someone needs who actually wants to visit this place on their own. So, you as an influencer would create the content, post it on your account, pin it on the global map, and we would do the research and provide the viewers of your reel with the necessary data. We really see great potential in this app as most teens nowadays research for information on Instagram to learn about new places they would like to visit if they are in new cities or plan a whole trip on their own. So, by giving them access to all this data, it would make it much easier for them and give them much more options of places to visit.
Instagrammer, so I'm really obsessed with this kind of combination that you can do with social media. So I can imagine like an app between Instagram with this kind of feed of videos, a more interactive one. that combination with TripAdvisor or also Booking, because I can understand it's like that.
Of course, I do. I participated in one of his workshops some years ago. It was course, I do. I participated in one of his workshops some years ago. It was called like the success of startups and how you can create your own. He told us a lot of things, but for example, the reason why so many startups failed, even today, are well like based on the great ideas. The steps we need to follow to launch a startup and the key factors we need to consider. For example, to create a process like it's simple, cheap and fast, MVP, build the customer journey, implement as soon as possible the moment of truth, etc. At the end of the workshop, he also showed us how to make a great startup pitch to catch the interest of the potential investors. That moment was really like really good for me because in that moment I didn't know all the information. So he was such a great teacher, and I learned like a lot of about him. Will be a great work with his like again, and this time even on the same team. So yeah.
How small the world is. Okay, Anna. Well, then let's meet up next week. I text you the link for the Zoom call and hope to collaborate with you soon. See you. Thank you for the talk.